Anbiya wal Mursaleen. I'm going to give a 30-second to all of our participants to please take their seats, finish eating your dessert, conclude your dialogue that you're having with your neighbor. I think it will be convenient if you can turn our chairs this way so everyone can be facing this way. So you will have, there you go. So make it more formal, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Perfect. So inshallah, we'll begin our program with the recitation of the Quran. And we have Taha Mujeeb with us, who would be reciting few verses from the Holy Book of Quran. With that, Taha Mujeeb.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن للمتقين مفازا حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب أترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا صدق الله.
Jazakallah khairan. Welcome to this third Kashmir conference here in Dallas. Navigating through options that Kashmiris have to find a peaceful solution. Without taking much of your time, I would like to request Raja Muzaffar Saab to have his opening remarks, who is chairing this conference. At the same time, he is acting chief of Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front. We are already running a little late on our schedule because of various reasons. I would not be making a longer statements or reading too longer of the bios in the interest of the time. So we want to make sure that our speakers have enough time to speak. My humble submission to all speakers is, in the interest of everyone's time, for the benefit of everyone's time, if I may request that they keep their briefs under 3 to 4 minutes the most. I will be keeping track of the timing, and if they are not cognizant of the time, I would give them a signal after 4 minutes, and thereafter they will have 60 seconds to conclude their remarks. So we want to make sure that this conference goes smooth, flawless, and everyone gets a chance to speak. So with that, Raja Muzaffar Saab.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Navigating of Peace in Kashmir, the way forward. I am very thankful to all of you for accepting the invitation and coming in the conference. Our purpose of the conference is the Navigating for Peace in Kashmir, the way forward, and another pressing topic, the cost of conflict on women in Palestine and Kashmir. I am honored to host this pivotal conference, uniting diverse individuals dedicated to fostering dialogue and peace in Kashmir. My personal story is deeply connected to this cause, as my family was partitioned along the ceasefire line in Kashmir during the 1947 war of occupation between India and Pakistan. I have paid a heavy emotional cost, and my experiences fueled my passion for resolving the conflict through peaceful means. As the current leader of the pro-independence organization KLF and board director of South Asia Democracy Watch, and I have dedicated my life to promoting peace and stability in Kashmir. I am grateful for the moral support of the Dallas Peace and Justice Center, South Asia Democracy Watch, Empowerment Hub USA, and VOKTVUSA for organizing today's conference. I am thankful to all individuals who have supported to organize this conference. Special thanks to our esteemed lawmaker and state representative, Terry Miza. Thank you so much. God for her. Salman Bajani was not, actually he was very busy, but he sent his special representative, Jordan, is here. Thank you so much, sir. Bill Maxwell, the former president of Dallas Peace and Justice Center, and all others who are, I cannot take the name of everyone. Everyone is very respectful for me, and all others who have joined us today, and especially I am very thankful to Kazi Mujeeb for helping me in organizing this conference. Your presence underscores the importance of this matter, and we are grateful for your dedication to finding solutions that promote peace and stability in Kashmir. We are joined by esteemed guests from various states and out of town, bringing valuable perspective to our discussion. I introduce my right-hand man, Dr. Toqeer Gillani, the Zonal President of KLF, who will share his personal journey of resilience and survival, providing critical insights into the struggle faced by those advocating for Kashmir's independence. As we gather, let us remember the human story at the heart of this situation, the resilience of the Kashmiri people and their desire for justice and dignity. International partners, including the USA, Japan, China, and Russia, must play a crucial role in building a positive peace process for Kashmir. The US, in particular, has a significant opportunity to leverage its influence and help deliver a lasting solution, averting the threat of war between nuclear armored neighbors India, Pakistan, and China. A way forward lies in the demilitarization as promised by India and Pakistan, and acceptance of the right to independence for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Dialogue with pro-independence leadership is crucial. Accession with India, Pakistan is no longer relevant. It is time to read the writing on the wall, as our guest speaker, who sent her written speech from London, Beverly Hill, his written speech is with me also. As she said in her speech, it is time to read the writing on the wall, as our guest speaker who sent the written speech from London aptly put it. It is time to all the big elephants, mean India, Pakistan and China, big elephants, to leave Kashmir. Big elephants, India, Pakistan, China, to leave Kashmir to give the peace a chance in the region. Let us heed this call and work towards a united, democratic and independent Kashmir, where justice and dignity are ensured for all. Yasin Malik, respect, you have seen his long journey of 114 days, public contact, and you have seen the photographs in the film also. Respected political leader and symbol for hope for many in Kashmir is imprisoned under dire conditions. As we discuss peace in Kashmir, let us remember that it is inherently a call for justice for Yasin Malik and all those struggling for their rights. Thank you to everybody for your presence and engagement. Together we can make a difference. The US has a critical role to play in resolving the conflict, and I urge our lawmakers and international partners to take decisive action. Thank you so much. Thank you, Governor.
I meant to stay seated, but I don't think I will be able to continue doing that. I will have to stand up and speak. Thank you very much, Raja Sahab, for your opening remarks. Raja Sahab has dedicated his entire life to the cause of Kashmir, for the independence of Kashmir, to bring awareness of the voices of the Kashmir around the globe. He has given up and sacrificed everything that he had for this cause, even though that he has half of the family on one side of the line of control, the half of it on the other side, but he cannot even visit to neither one of them. So that is the plight of the Kashmir. That is not just one story, but you will see a lot of Kashmiris making their stories on a daily basis, on this side or the other side. So we have some distinguished guests with us that we want to have them have the chance to speak first. We have a state representative, city councilman, activist, public officials. Some people have traveled from across the country to grace us with this wonderful conference. So with that, we are very honored to have our long-term friend. She is our representative. She represents our district. She have always supported and voiced for the justice. That is our representative Terry Misa, state representative, state of Texas. So I would walk over to her and have her share her brief remarks. You can stay seated.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm shorter than you are, so I probably have more of a reason to have to stand up than you do. But everybody can see me over here, right? So great to be here with you all. It was through my affiliation or association with our Muslim Democratic Caucus, who meets here in Irving at a restaurant. So, Texas King, for those of you who know about Texas King, we meet at Texas King on Sunday afternoon, so we'll be meeting next September the 8th. So after my long affiliation with the Muslim Democrats, and Raja would attend the meetings once in a while. And he invited me to the Dallas Palms, some of you are familiar with Dallas Palms, a couple of occasions in which they were highlighting what was going on in Kashmir. At the time, there was a shutdown, I don't know if there still is, on communication, where there was not much internet being allowed, people were not being able to communicate with the outside world, which sometimes means not being allowed to communicate with their family and friends, maybe here in the United States and other places. So that's when I first became aware of the situation in Kashmir. I think it was the second time that Raja had invited me to another meeting there, and I brought in the then my colleague, state representative, now Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who's a name that some of you may recognize. She came with me to one of the banquets there at the Dallas. And I was sitting at one of the tables, and a gentleman came over and spoke to me and said, there's another table that would like to speak to you. So I said, okay, and I got up and left and went over, and it was a table full of turbans. The Sikhs community was there in support of Kashmir. So that was great. It's the first time that I'd ever had an interaction with the Sikh community. I knew about people that wore turbans, but I didn't really know that much about their faith. And since then, I've been to their gurdwaras a few times. And so, and they have some similar concerns, right, in the Sikh community. So Muslims, Kashmiris, Sikhs, y'all just keep expanding my knowledge, my horizon, making me more culturally aware and culturally sensitive to the issues in your area of the country. So both Jasmine and I agree on that whatever the issue is, we always are on the side of the oppressed. And in this case, I think we're on the side of the Kashmiris, that we favor their desire to have independence and self-determination. So that's what I'm here to further. Thank you for allowing me to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Tarimiza. You have always been very kind and very supportive of our causes. For those of you who need seats, we have plenty of seats available on both sides of the aisles. If you want to make use of those seats that are rested by some of the purses, you're more than welcome to make use of those seats, Biznillah. I am very humbled and honored to have our very first city official, very first Muslim elected to city of Irving, a Muslim representing in city of Irving, first time in the history of city of Irving. That is our dear brother Abdul Khabir. He has served in many capacity to his community, a philanthropist, an entrepreneur, someone who has been in the field of building communities across all walks of its life, and now he is serving in official capacity. Councilman Abdul Khabir, we will be honored to have your few remarks in the opening of this session.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And good afternoon. I hope everybody enjoys the food and lunch. It's very delicious. Alhamdulillah. First, I wanted to thank the organizers of this conference. I think this is the third conference which Brother Mujeeb was mentioning about. And thank you to Brother Saad for taking the lead in arranging this conference, and Brother Mujeeb, Kazi, who is a very good friend of mine, and we worked on different community matters in different time. Alhamdulillah. As a city council member, I being requested and asked to give some comments, so just bear with me, inshallah, for a few minutes. I stand before you today not as a public servant of God, but as a fellow human being who believes in the fundamental rights of all people to live in peace, with dignity and without fear. And I'm deeply honored to have the opportunity to speak about a region that has for too long been engulfed in a cycle of conflict and suffering, which is in Kashmir. The humanitarian crisis in Kashmir is not just a regional issue, but a global concern that touches the very core of our collective conscience. For decades, the people of Kashmir have endured hardship that most of us can barely imagine. Widespread violence, enforced disappearances, communication blackouts, and the constant shadow of militarization. Families are torn apart, as just Raja Saab was mentioning. Young lives are cut short, and basic human rights are denied on a daily basis. As we gather here, we must remind ourselves that the statistics we hear, thousands of deaths, countless of arrests, and unimaginable suffering represent real people. They are mothers, fathers, children, and elders who, like all of us, dream of a life free from fear and oppression. The situation in Kashmir is a stark reminder of the responsibility that we, as members of the global community, bear towards our fellow human beings. Silence is not an option. We must amplify the voices of those who cannot speak for themselves. The world must demand accountability for the human rights violations taking place and call for a peaceful resolution that honors the aspiration of Kashmiri people. It is crucial that international organizations, the governments, and the civil society continue to pressure all parties involved to adhere to international law and respect human rights. The solution to the crisis in Kashmir cannot be found through the barrel of a gun, but through dialogue, understanding, and a genuine commitment to peace. But our efforts cannot stop with words. As a local leader, I urge all of us to engage in meaningful action. We can write to our representatives, organize awareness campaigns, and support humanitarian organizations that are working tirelessly to provide aid and relief to those suffering in Kashmir. We must also educate ourselves and others about the complexities of the Kashmiri issue, understanding its historical context and the perspectives of all parties involved. Only then we can contribute to a future where justice and peace will prevail. In conclusion, let us remember that the struggle for human rights in Kashmir is not just the struggle of those living in that region. It is a struggle that affects us all. We are all connected in our shared humanity, and it is our moral duty to stand up for the rights of our brothers and sisters in Kashmir. May Allah guide us and give us the opportunity to educate our Muslim people and the American constituents to feel the importance and the suffering of Kashmir. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair for
Thank you very much, Councilman, for those inspiring comments. As you all know, since the conflict started, Kashmiris have lost over 400,000 lives. You may have heard this number first time. The numbers have been circling around 100,000 plus. But the real number, a researcher and academic based in Canada has shared these numbers, and these numbers are troubling. It's a genocide. It's a killing of humanity. So as the councilman has alluded to, voices must be raised. Kashmir cause must not be used to make money or to be used for self-profiling. It is a cause that is affecting millions of people. Their resources have been taken away, lives have been taken away, their honor have been taken away, and now a concerted effort is being made to take their identity away. And that's the last thing that we want anyone to take anything from us. People would lose their wealth, their families, their lives, their livelihood, but they refuse And we all, as a human being, we refuse to lose our freedom. Freedom is the most precious thing that we have. As the second caliph in Islam has clearly said, your mother has given birth to you as a free man and female, male or female. A free male or female or male. Your mother has given birth as a free male or a female. Who is there to make you oppressed? Who is there to commit oppression on you? So that right cannot be given to anyone. So with that, I am going to request Jordan if he wants to say a few words. He is representing our state representative, Salman Bujani, who I had the honor of sharing the stage with him on Friday at ISNA convention, where he presented a resolution for the contribution towards the humanity that ISNA has provided. And by the way, as Terry Misa was mentioning, that I am the one who should be seated because I'm restless. We worked hard for last 6 months to bring this event come together, and alhamdulillah, we are blessed to announce that we had over 20,000 people showed up on the Labor Day weekend, and everything went smooth and flawless. With that, Jordan, you can stand here and speak. Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Howdy, and salam alaikum. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Jordan Villarreal. I'm the district director for Representative Salman Bujani. He wishes he could be here. He's at a couple different Labor Day events currently. So thank you so much for having me in his stead. He is the first Muslim and first Desi ever elected to the state office here in the state of Texas, and he takes these issues very seriously. So that's why we want to make sure that we're listening to the concerns of the community, making sure that we're learning what is happening overseas, learning what we can do here in the state of Texas, and fighting for a peaceful solution that makes everyone equal in the region. So thank you so much for providing me with all this context, all the information. I look forward to taking that back to our office and making sure that we have more conversations about this issue. Thank you so much. I do have to run to another event, but I'm glad I had a chance to be here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for working closely with South Asian community, and I appreciate you for adding another word to your vocabulary as Desi. I like that. With that, we are very honored and humbled to have a very special guest with us who have, since I know him or our community knows him, he has always been for the freedom of right, freedom of expression, freedom of religious freedom, freedom of practicing your religion, and he has served as president of a very vibrant institution here in Dallas, Dallas Peace and Justice. He has served as president of the organization, and today he is with us to share his remarks. Bill Maxwell.
Couldn't figure out who you're talking about. What a wonderful event. A way forward. So great that you're taking this on. The Dallas Peace and Justice Center strongly supports your efforts. We want to be a resource to you and do anything we can. And my brother Oscar has asked me to speak on behalf of the Dallas Peace and Justice Center, and I'm happy to do that. I've been a peace activist for a long time, and I've been on the Dallas Peace and Justice Center board for 40 years, 20 years, don't say 40. But anyway, in 1990, we issued a position statement on the issues affecting people of Kashmir and Gillani. And in this week, we included a brief history, which I didn't want to talk much about history because y'all know it better than I do. But Kashmir has been a disputed territory as per the United Nations regulations since 1947. It was the creation of British government's irresponsible decisions when they were ending their British rule of over a century of colonization. The result was the first war in 1948, and the majority of Kashmiris do not want to be a part of India. Both India and Pakistan have committed to the UN that it was the will of the people of Kashmir that would decide the future of the state. That was the pledge of the UN. So that's the background. But at that time, the Dallas Peace Center said Dallas Peace and Justice Center stands for peaceful and just resolution and for the Kashmiri issue. The people of Kashmir have the full right to decide their future. The world needs to respect the human and civil rights and liberty of the Kashmir people. And now, as of today, we've got a new statement coming out that's Kashmir, a peaceful future. And this is mostly Aftab's creation. He's a very bright man. And now we advocate for Kashmir through peaceful means. An independent country which is inclusive of all population segments, a pluralistic society, is the best option going forward. Independence does not necessarily mean a sovereign state like India or Pakistan, but a demilitarized state with open borders for trade and traveling within the entire state. We envision a Kashmir as the Asian Switzerland. Start with India and Pakistan, and later China can hopefully open up the administrative part of Kashmir. The gradual opening of borders and free trade across India-Pakistan borders can be a first step. Think in terms of years or maybe even decades. I'm sorry to report. The work of peacemaking is lifelong. Now, why should India and Pakistan come to the table to talk about Kashmir issues? Because the subcontinent is ground zero for climate change. Pakistan is facing historic devastating floods. Both countries will face shortage of water in the next few decades. Glaciers and snow in the mountains of Kashmir are melting and gradually will create devastation. The critical shortage of water and those sources of water are gone. A step-by-step approach by a unified body of Kashmiris, which is what you people are doing right here today, in bringing peace to the region will help create an autonomous state managed by the people of Kashmir. Aftab Siddiqui and Bill Maxwell.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. I do want to recognize Aftab Siddiqui Saab. He is such a mentor, a community leader. He is always writing, raising voices, and being on the side of oppressed at all times. So I think that's the courage that one's need in this time and age. While we are talking about oppression, suppression in Kashmir, we also do recognize that our brothers and sisters in Pakistan, we stand in complete solidarity with them as they are facing the worst humanitarian crisis at this point in time. Forced disappearances, abductions, torture, illegally captivity, barging into houses by current ruling regime and some of the corrupt generals who are suppressing their own people, suppressing their own countrymen just because of one reason, and that reason is that they want to have their opinion, they want their voices to be heard. That's the only crime they are committing. We are very blessed and honored to have a country that gives us the opportunity to speak our mind. Even we are at the difference of opinion, even if we are differing on a highest level, but we have that freedom that we can speak, we can practice our religion, we can gather, we can assemble. And today in this gathering, we have a representation from both sides of the aisle. We have a Republicans as well as Democrat. So with that, I'm going to go to our very dear friend, very active community activist. He has taken the charge of encouraging people to go out and vote. And he is an instrumental for our community to encouraging them, helping them to find a plate on the table, not to be on the menu at all time. You probably have heard this phrase many times. You have seen him speaking, but it is our privilege and honor that we have with us Fayaz Shah Saab,
Especially
who
provided
is,
me many forums to speak.
I'm sorry?
मैंने कहा बहुत सारे फॉर्म पे मुझे भी लेके गए हैं बस yeah.
Raja Saab is obliged that he has, Fayaz Saab has taken him to several forums, so where his voice can be heard. Fayaz Shah Saab, I know I can go on and on your bio, but thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Mujeeb bhai. Leave some good words for my obituary.
May Allah give you long life.
कासिम साहब ने डेट किए हैं फोटो और आपके टाइम नहीं है इसको जरूर देना है हनीम खाने से हमारा 2 मिनट को देना है
Ladies and gentlemen, Kani Bhabi and Rajasthan, my name is Syed Fayaz Hassan and I am with South Asian Democracy Watch. I'm not a Kashmiri by place of birth, but feel as part of the struggle for unity, for peace and self-determination. This is the same aspiration that, if you heard the Vice President Kamala Harris promised for people of Palestine in her convention speech last week. Palestine and Kashmir are two burning issues that are not only challenge our imagination for solutions, but challenge our moral compass on human sufferings and deprivation of our sense of justice for today's world. I deliberately had Kani Bhabi's name before my esteemed Raja Muzaffar Saab. I love them both. As because of her, Raja Saab is an activist and a leader for people of Kashmir. Women of Kashmir, like women around the world, are unsung heroes who sacrifice for the cause but are seldomly mentioned in tales of heroics in history books. Ladies and gentlemen, the thought for you. This year, 2024, just this year, is an election year for majority of the world democracies. Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, UK, France, US, and many other countries are having elections. An estimated 4 billion people are voting in 2024. There are a little more than 2 billion are women. Hundreds of thousands of people are contesting in many countries. Women, however, will just be voters. Besides a handful who will be contesting, many against all odds. That's the dilemma of the world we live in. That women status is only a bystander and non-contestant in matter of power and of justice. This is not only a cause, but is an outcome of historical injustice. To me, a democracy is not functional if half of the population is not represented at the table. To me, all democracies, even Western democracies, are under apartheid rule until equal number of women are represented in parliament, in judiciary, in matter of common interest in any society. In fact, I don't mind if women are represented in a higher proportion than men as correction to historical injustice. In fact, food for thought, I propose that we have a system where women and men seats in parliament are equally divided, 50% for men, 50% over women, with separate electorate. Just food for thought. Just think how the world would be better with this kind of arrangement. When talking of suffering of Kashmiri women and the resilience, it is not just a tale of them being victim of a state assault, the systematic rape by the state as tool of war. This heroism and the courage may not be seen in men-narrated history books, but cannot be hidden from history vision. More than 700,000 Indian military fighters were unleashed against unarmed civilians in the premises of fighting against terrorists and infiltrators from Pakistan. Is the same method of cruelty, laced in justification, as we see in Gaza, that Hamas terrorists, the state is fighting Hamas terrorists. It's the same alibi they have used to oppress people, especially women. Kashmiri women are not only fighting direct assault on them, but are seeing their husbands, brothers, fathers, or sons being dead or missing, categorized as never returned, creating a large group of women called half-widows. There are ample evidence and proof that rape was used as a tool of military operation against civilians to demoralize the resistance. Women are not only victim of the state offensive, but also the direct target by state to demoralize the people who struggle. When we talk of Indian offensive, we must admit that violent activities were used against Hindu pundits to force them out of Kashmir Valley. Women were also used as tactics to force pundits out of Kashmir. We also have the responsibility that we should admit that we were not good with our women, the Kashmiri women, whether Hindu or Muslim. However, Kashmiri women are resilient and are busy in peace efforts through their activism. Bringing peace back to Kashmir through justice and coexistence is a need of our generation, where women can play a huge role in nursing the wounds of hate and division of people of Kashmir. Cohesion of Kashmiri nation is important for the independence and success of Kashmiri struggle. This cohesion cannot be achieved without participation of half of the Kashmiri nation known as Kashmiri women. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shah Saab. We do have quite a bit of women representing here. Inshallah, they will all be speaking. So far, we are all doing very good on the timing. And the speakers that who are coming after Shah Saab, I hope that you will compete with him, inshallah, in timings. And we'll make it as brief as possible because we want to open up the floor for the discussion so people will have their questions. Those questions can be heard and answered for. Now, for a brief, when we talk about women oppression and women rapes, as Shah Saab has alluded, that Indian armed forces are using, rape as a weapon against humanity. Can you even imagine that? Before I invite our sister to speak about the plight of women in Palestine, there's a parallel to it, the way the women are treated in Kashmir and Palestine. I do want to recognize a couple of our very dear friends who have traveled from far distance. He just landed, our Chaudhry Akbar Saab. If you can stand up, Chaudhry Saab, for 1 second. So please give a huge round of applause. He traveled all the way from Virginia to honor us with his presence in this gathering. And then we have Raja Nawaz Saab. He came from Arkansas. Raja Nawaz Saab, thank you very much. If you could stand up, please. So we would like to recognize. And then we have our very dear Lone Saab, mashallah, if you can stand up. Raja Saab, Lone Saab have come all the way from Arkansas as well.
Qasim Khokar sahab hai
Qasim Khokar Saab, inshallah, he will have the stage. He will speak. Kaleem Saab, and then we have Sardar Saab. We have several people, inshallah, we will recognize them. So I am going to go with the cost of conflict and women in Palestine, and I'd like to request our sister Tess McGlynn. I'm going to bring the mic over to you. And your time begins now.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tess McGlynn. Thank you for having me, and also thank you for creating space to equally talk about Palestine and this ongoing struggle for freedom. I think there's a lot of connection. Most strikingly is the colonial legacy, dating back to 1947 and 1948, but the ongoing settler colonialism, including dispossession of land. I had the great privilege of visiting the West Bank a couple of years ago. Calkilia was the first city that I visited. There's only one way in and there's only one way out, and it's a military checkpoint controlled by Israel. Another interesting fact about Calkilia is it's the only zoo in Palestine. And I couldn't help but feel surrounded by walls that the city itself is a zoo. I also visited a little town called Kafr Malik, which is just outside of Ramallah. Palestinians, much like Kashmiris, as I experienced today, are very hospitable people. So I say they're like strangers. They're friends of friends of friends. They welcomed me in their homes and shared their stories. The father told me about the torture that he endured while he was in jail as a political prisoner. He told me about their neighbor's son, just a little boy who was run over and killed by an Israeli tank. They told me about the violence, and even took me to the gravesite of their neighbor that had been killed. So a lot of these experiences are, from what I can gather, are very similar to what's happening in Kashmir. From their roof, you can also just look around and you see 6 illegal Israeli settlements from any direction. So again, this is continued theft of land. It's not just 1948. What we're seeing in Gaza right now is an active genocide as part of that larger colonial conquest. Developers in Israel are already talking about the beachfront property in Gaza. So in the midst of all of this death and destruction, they're talking about beachfront property. And how many weeks now have we seen the death toll in Gaza at 30,000? Meanwhile, the Lancet report is saying it could exceed over 186,000 when you factor in disease and other injuries. So I think the political discourse in America is really disingenuous when it comes to these atrocities and foreign involvement. Right now, especially as Israel is pushing into the West Bank, and we're seeing even more innocent Palestinians being killed. It was never about Hamas. It was never about October 7th. But yet we continue to send money and we continue arms sales to Israel while talking about ceasefire and peace. So, it sounds a lot like what the U.S. position is on Kashmir as well, right? It really amounts to nothing given our allegiance and alliance with India as well as geopolitical interest in the area. So I think it's really easy to get discouraged by the powers that be against these indigenous-led resistance movements. But I think it's so important to continue having these conversations and build solidarity between us. So thank you so much. And I'm sorry about my, I don't know what's happening.
Thank you. Rani, you can power it off. So I think it's the battery is getting down, but guess what? That is the sound of a shooting, isn't it? And people in Kashmir live under those sounds every single day. That's what it is. So anyway, that was the demonstration of that. Not intentional, but it just so happened. Can somebody call the technical staff to take a look at, see what's happening? We have democratic side of the version that Shah Sahab have shared. Now I'm going to walk over to the other side. We have a long-term community activist, have served in US FBI. He is heavily vested into building bridges across communities, representing Muslim at national level. Our dear friend, our dear brother, we've worked together on several platforms on Interfaith Square and what have you. I'm going to walk over to our brother Muhammad Ali Biari. He is here to share some of his words with us regarding Kashmir. Thank you, Muhammad.
I grew up in this community. Several of you would probably remember my dad in the Richardson Mosque. Helped co-found several others. I've been hearing and attending events concerning Kashmir since the 80s. So it's an issue that's been close to a lot of people in our community's hearts, mine included. And I signed the statement outside. One minor PR suggestion, though, is that when you're trying to sell it in America, is to see "we the people" at the beginning of the statement, because this is very much a movement of the people as opposed to the governments. This issue has always had a lot of pull from both sides across the line of control, and has always been drowned out by governments and geopolitics. Unfortunately, after 9/11 here in this community, one of the cruel lessons I had to learn before going into government. I was an advisor at DHS, not the FBI, but I had worked with the FBI a lot. So they have a press release on their website about how I played a liaison role across the intelligence community, agencies, and the national So I will just try to speak up loudly. If you don't hear me, raise your hand, but I don't. What I learned in government is that governments don't actually care about peace. What governments see, and that's both inside the United States government when it comes to these conflicts overseas, as well as after leaving the administration, the now administration. I did a year of consulting in the Africa Bureau out of Nairobi. So what I learned in this, there are national liberation movements that we have across the globe, like this one for Kashmir. We, the people, care about peace. We, the people, care about human life lost. But when the calculus is made inside of the halls of power, at the end of the day, it'll come down to security. So they look at the same problem, but they look at it from another angle of how do we mitigate the possibility of problems that happen that could threaten the national security of our nation state. That is the realist school of foreign policy or international affairs, and that is the dominant school in the halls of power in DC. And it doesn't matter, I'm a Republican, lifelong Republican. I served in the Democratic as well as Republican administrations in various positions. At the end of the day, governments that are going to need to hear the security part addressed in order for them to be able to feel comfortable to begin to work on the parts that we, the people, we care about, which is the peace building. So what I saw from various national liberation movements that would come to DC and talk to me, be it like some dealing with the Moroccan-Algerian region, some dealing with the Kurds, some dealing with others, is that the Syrians, and the list goes on, in Africa there's a ton, is that you need to unify yourself. It is extremely important. The ones who have succeeded in getting the attention of, say, the Directorate of National Intelligence in the United States government, or the high level of policy making that would look at, okay, what is the U.S.'s role in this buffer state, which is the model that was included in the statement from the Dallas Peace Center. This is actually the model that I personally support. If it's a buffer state between 3 nuclear powers, then the people of Kashmir will get to live in peace.
I think
You can also see
Can you give me this one?
the highway between those 3 regions for economic activity. You can start off with, this is a free trade zone known as Greater Jammu Kashmir, whatever the name ends up being for all the various allied parts combined. But those governments, you have to build political unity amongst the national liberation movement. I think you also need to recognize that the United States does not move in its foreign policy on certain issues without being prodded by some of our allies. So we have, for example, Canada. The Canadian government is always trying to do backdoor diplomacy on behalf of the United States. So when the U.S. and Iran weren't getting along after the revolution in '79, it's Canadians that are trying to work certain back channels. Similarly with some Northern European countries. Those states over there and those governments are your best allies to getting, especially the Democratic Party, to become champions for a new way of doing this. And believe me, from the time of Obama, when he met with Rahul Gandhi, or not Rahul Gandhi, his mother, Indira. Yeah. The left, the new left in America, like the Tony Blair type of left. So that's Obama. They wanted to have something similar to partner with in the Indian political scene. The BJP was willing to see itself and ally with Republicans here to see itself as a stalwart against China. In order for all 3 countries to see Jammu Kashmir as a good, it's best for them to turn it into a buffer state. You're going to need political allies. Yeah, exactly. You will need essentially like the left in India to start also selling this model. I think I've went long enough, but I think you get the gist of the overall picture. And if you need anything else from me, I'm at your...
Thank you so much. Can you give him a round of applause?
Keep one now.
Brother Muhammad is a thinker, he reads books and he comes up with, he's already reading a book on Kashmir. So thank you very much for being here with us and sharing your thoughts. And I think that's a very powerful statement for us to advocate and work towards the diplomacy and build alliances so that we can find a solution towards creating a buffer zone or maybe economic zone for all these nuclear flashpoint countries in the region. With that, in the interest of time, I'm going to run fast, and we have several speakers but one thing that I do want to make mention of it before I open the floor and have other speakers to talk, I want to take this opportunity and liberty without the permission of Raja Saab. I would like to request our Dr. Toqeer. Dr. Toqeer is someone who has gone through the sufferings on ground. And not long ago, very recently, he escaped from being murdered by the agencies in Pakistan. He has stories to share with you. He has family left behind. He left within his 2 pair of clothes that he had with him. His crime was that he was becoming a sound voice for his people. That's the only crime he has committed. He was slapped with blasphemy. He was slapped with, creating noise against the state and what have you. He can tell the stories. So I want him to give his deliberation first before we bring our next speakers, because I think this is very, very important, as Brother Fayaz and Brother Muhammad has alluded to some of the practical steps that we can take towards finding a solution. We know the history, we know the background, we know what's going on. It's been going on for so many years. We already know human catastrophe that is taking place on the ground. But what is happening as we speak? How come it's not on the limelight? How come people are still being persecuted just for one and only reason? Because they want to live independently in their own homes. That's the only fault they have. So with that, please help me give a warm welcome to Dr. Toqeer Gillani.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today. I find myself lucky enough to share some thoughts about long-standing issue of Jammu and Kashmir with esteemed people like you all. People around the world believe that Kashmir issue is a territorial dispute between India and Pakistan, and this is because India and Pakistan put it in this way. I just want to tell you and make it clear that it is not a dispute. It is an illegal and brutal occupation. An occupation as old as the Organization of United Nations itself. If we look at the history of the issue, initially it was as simple to understand as a smile. But now it is made as complex as the road system of United States, where you can't reach at your destination without navigation. Despite being a nuclear flashpoint, the challenges associated with it are numerous, and there are numerous opportunities associated with the peaceful and just resolution of the issue. When you ask me about my motherland, I am going to tell you that decades of occupation have eroded our political identity and autonomy. The presence of Indian and Pakistani forces has led to human rights abuses, displacements, demographic changes, economic hardships and political repression, violence and bloodshed, with we the people of Jammu and Kashmir paying the price. Our people and leaders subjected to arbitrary detentions, torture and extrajudicial killings. One of our internationally well-known leaders, Muhammad Yasin Malak, who has become a symbol of peaceful resistance and struggle for freedom, is sent in gallows presently in Indian jail for last 5 years, facing false and fabricated charges and sentenced for life. I myself am the victim of Pakistani state's revenge, facing blasphemy and dozens of fabricated charges just because I used to lead a political and democratic movement for freedom and basic rights and oppose terrorists, fundamentalists and Pakistani state proxies in Pakistani side of Jammu and Kashmir. Hundreds of political workers and rights activists, including social media activists, journalists, teachers, poets and writers, imams, students, lawyers, traders and community leaders, men and women, are facing state oppression, agony, black laws, kidnappings, life threats, rapes and wrath of Indian and Pakistani occupation in the state of Jammu and Kashmir and allied areas. Our economy has been stifled, with our natural resources exploited and our industries suppressed, with benefits ensuing to the occupying powers rather than the local population. Ladies and gentlemen, despite numerous attempts to resolving the issue through UN Security Council resolutions and diplomatic means, a lasting solution has remained elusive. Both India and Pakistan claim that Jammu and Kashmir belongs to them, and they both reject the claim of ownership of its actual title holders, that is, people of Jammu and Kashmir. The time has now come that representatives of international community and representatives of Jammu Kashmir state, India and Pakistan must engage in talks to end the illegal occupation in a just and peaceful way. Learning from the lessons of past, the withdrawal of forces is the only option to begin with. A simultaneous and complete withdrawal of both Indian and Pakistani forces from Jammu and Kashmir is a crucial step towards resolving the decade-long conflict. This withdrawal would end the occupation and allow the Kashmiri people to govern themselves and to determine their own future. This would be followed by stripping off the bloody ceasefire line by making it irrelevant, enabling people of all regions of the state to move freely and reunite their own political and economic path. It will unlock Jammu Kashmir's economic potential, allowing the region to flourish and prosper. Additionally, a simultaneous withdrawal would demonstrate India and Pakistan's commitment to peace and would allow people of the state to build their own institutions without external interference. It would also foster cooperation between India and Pakistan and Jammu Kashmir, promoting regional peace and stability. There are challenges to achieving this just and the only viable, practical and lasting goal, but I firmly believe that the benefits far outweigh the costs. Jammu Kashmir's strategic location makes it an ideal hub for trade and economic and commerce between India, Pakistan and Central Asia. And in independent Jammu Kashmir could serve as a neutral zone, hosting cultural, economic and diplomatic exchanges between regional and international powers. It could and would facilitate people-to-people exchanges, cultural events, educational programs and help to build bridges. Therefore, we urge you and international communities to support our quest for independent Jammu Kashmir state. Let us work together to create a brighter future for all, for Jammu Kashmir, for the people of South Asia, a future where its people can live in peace, prosperity and freedom. And I would like to end my words with famous words of Arundhati Roy, that there can't be any peace without justice and there can't be any justice without resistance. I thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Toqeer, for being here today, and we are very pleased that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has saved you from being murdered and killed and abducted by those occupying forces. With that, I'm going to go down to two of the Kashmiri women who wants to have their voices heard. And I would like to request Sister Shazia, if she is in the house, there she is. So she can express her views in 2 minutes and 59 seconds.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to speak in my mother tongue, and I request to my, Kazi sir, after that he will translate who can't understand Urdu. मैं आप सबका बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ कि आपने भी मुझे मौका दिया और बोलने के लिए टाइम लिमिट दी है, बट थैंक यू सो मच। मैं एज अ खवातीन की नुमाइंदगी करते हुए यहाँ पे बात करना चाहूँगी इंटरनेशनल मीडिया के थ्रू कि आज की जो कॉन्फ्रेंस थी ये बहुत अच्छा इक़दाम है। यासीन मलिक की रिहाई के लिए एक जो तहरीक शुरू की गई, वो एक अजीम लीडर है और हम किसी लीडर को जो है लाश नहीं करना चाहते, क्योंकि जब हम किसी अजीम लीडर या किसी आम लीडर को अगर हम लाश कर देते हैं तो सदियों फिर उसका जो है अला हम गुर्द नहीं कर सकते। तो वो तो एक बहुत बड़ा लीडर है, उसकी किसी नज़रिए से जो है हमें इख्तलाफ नहीं हो सकता, उसकी अपने नज़रिए के साथ जो एक वाबस्तगी है सालों से, जो सिंसियरिटी है उस पर कोई शक नहीं किया जा सकता। वो कोई दहशतगर्द नहीं है, उस पर जो झूठे इल्ज़ाम लगा के एक बदतरीन ज़िंदगी गुजारने पर उसे मजबूर किया गया है, लेकिन उसकी जुर्रत को हम सलाम पेश करते हैं। मैं इस इंटरनेशनल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म से रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगी ह्यूमन राइट्स एक्टिविस्ट से, इस वक्त जो कश्मीर के अंदर एक अजीब सी फजा फैली हुई है कि हमारे जितने भी लीडर हैं जो कश्मीर की आज़ादी की बात करते हैं उसको वो दबाने के लिए अब वो ऊंचे हरकतों पे उतर आए हैं। उन्होंने मजहबी कार्ड को खेलना शुरू कर लिया है, जिसकी एक जो है मसाल, लाइव मसाल आपके सामने डॉक्टर तोकीर गिलानी साहब ने, जो इस वक्त जो है इन्हीं ऊंचे हरकतों की वजह से बेबुनियाद इल्ज़ाम लगाकर उनको मुल्क बदल कर दिया गया, जो आपके साथ बैठे हुए हैं। एक ना वो सिर्फ ये तो आपके सामने लाइव जो है मसाल में आपको बता रही हूँ, लेकिन हमारी कितनी माएँ ऐसी हैं जिनके बेटे सुबह को निकलते हैं, शाम को घर वापस नहीं आते। हमारे छोटे बच्चों से लेकर हमारे बाप, हमारे बेटे, हमारे भाई जब घर से निकलते हैं तो किसी को नहीं पता कि वो वापस आ भी सकेंगे या नहीं। उन माओं पे क्या गुजरती है वो आप समझ सकते हैं। तो पहले तो सिर्फ ये हमारे भाइयों तक महदूद था, लेकिन अब जब हमारे ऊपर जो मसलत की ये फोर्सेस हैं, उन्होंने जब देखा कि ये
कुछ लड़कियों को भी अभी ये इल्ज़ाम लगा है,
वो अब हमारी ख़वातीन के ऊपर भी इल्ज़ाम लगाकर उनको जेल में डाला जा रहा है। फदारा हमारी ह्यूमन राइट्स एक्टिविस्ट से गुजारिश है कि अगर इस चीज़ को कंट्रोल ना किया गया तो कल तक हमारी कोई बच्चियाँ, जो पहले तो सिर्फ मर्दों को जेलों में डाला जाता था, अब भी वो जेलें औरतों से भरी जाएंगी। हमारी सिर्फ इस तहरीक को दबाने के लिए हम औरतों को, जो जब उन्होंने देखा कि ये औरतें, क्योंकि आप दुनिया की किसी भी तारीख को उठाकर देखें, वो इस्लामी तारीख हो या दुनिया की कोई भी तारीख हो, वो ख़वातीन के बगैर कभी भी कामयाब नहीं हुई। हर तारीख में हमारी ख़वातीन का हमेशा से एक अहम रोल अदा रहा है, और हम ख़वातीन को डरने वाली नहीं हैं, हम झुकने वाली नहीं हैं। हमें इन ऊंचे हथकंडों को इस्तेमाल करके मजहबी कार्ड को खेलकर हमें डराया धमकाया नहीं जा सकता, क्योंकि पहले हम लोगों को शऊर नहीं था, लेकिन अब इस सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू हमारी हर बच्ची, हमारी हर माँ ये जान चुकी है कि हमारे साथ क्या जुल्म सितम हो रहा है। कहने को तो बहुत कुछ है, दिल चाह रहा है कि आज अपना दिल खोल के सारी बातें आपके सामने रखूं। मैं खुद एक आज से 5-6 साल पहले बाग आज़ाद कश्मीर के अंदर एज अ ह्यूमन एक्टिविस्ट और एक सियासी वर्कर की हैसियत से मैंने बहुत कुछ जीला, बहुत कुछ सहा, और बहुत कुछ जो है ना अपनी मेरी फैमिली को, मैंने वहाँ पे बाग के अंदर में पहली खातून थी जिसने इलेक्शन के अंदर हिस्सा लिया। उसकी वजह से मुझे कितनी चीज़ों का मजहबी और दूसरी चीज़ों के लिए फैमिली की तरफ से और बाकी जितने जो है मुझे फेस करना पड़ा, मैं समझती हूँ, लेकिन आज वो चीज़ें स्लोली मैं देख रही हूँ कि वो ख़त्म हो रही हैं। तो मैं अपनी बहनों से रिक्वेस्ट करूँगी कि ये स्पेशली जो आजकल कश्मीर के अंदर किया जा रहा है ख़वातीन के साथ, उनसे कोई डरने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। हमारी ख़वातीन जैसे आगे आ रही हैं ऐसे ही आती रहेंगी, और इंशाअल्लाह हम एज अ ख़वातीन हम एक अहम रोल अदा करेंगी। और इस मीडिया के इंटरनेशनल मीडिया के प्लेटफॉर्म से हमारी गुजारिश है कि कश्मीर के अंदर होने वाली ये जो पिसा हुआ हम जो तबका है, इसको निकालने में एक अहम रोल अदा करेंगे। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you so much. What our sister was saying was, she was explaining in her words the plight of people of Kashmir, but particularly her focus was how the women are being targeted in Kashmir. She herself contested election and she was given a pushback when she was running, and she was given, the current regime or the government in the occupying countries run like a mafia style. They come after you, they slander you, they abduct you, they torture you. But one thing that she did mention was that it is an organized effort by the occupiers that they are trying to make Kashmiris go leaderless. So they are trying to, good leaders, either they are trying to get them kicked out of the country or kill them or put them in the jail. And the live example of that is Dr. Toqeer Gillani, that because he was gaining that momentum, who can rally the public behind him, and then 15-20 of the frivolous cases were slapped on him, and then he had to run for his life, and then fled the country, and then he was able to make it here. But those people who are unable to flee the country, they are the one who are being pushed in behind the bars. They are the being who are, as she mentioned, that there are women now, they have gone down to so low level that it was a time when they were coming after men's only. Now they have gone after children's and the young kids and the women's. And they have absolutely no respect whatsoever that this is, culturally, women are very well respected in the region. But now they have, these occupying forces have gone so wild that they as if they feel like that they're above the law. Nobody is there to question them, and they have no respect for the family values. That was the nutshell of her conversation. She wanted to talk more because of the interest of the time, and also she wants to express herself. She wants to vent her grievances out, but make use of the social media and speak as long as you want, speak as much as you want. That's the best tool that we have available. So we want Yassin Malik to be released. We demand it. I hope we will have a resolution towards. We want Imran Khan to be released. And in solidarity with Nawaz Sharif, we want him to be released so he can go back to the country that he wants to visit. We have no problem whatsoever. So that's fine with us. Now, moving on to, we have an esteemed guest with us. He supports Kashmir cause. He's vocal about human rights, and he has been listening to us very patiently, and he is very good at finishing his speech within 2.5 minutes. With that, I mean Barrister Tosif Kamal.
Thank you, Muzaffar. Thank you, Rajasthan. Honorable Chair and all the distinguished guests. I'll be very brief. Basically, I want to make 2 points. First, as a lawyer and as a media man, I've written extensively on Kashmir, and also my best-selling book is a chapter of Kashmir, how the rights have been violated. But 2 points I'd like to make. First of all, is the sham trial violating constitutional law and due process clauses of the Indian Constitution in targeting and Kashmiri leader Yassin Malik. In 2022, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, and although I helped him file a petition for him with the Indian Supreme Court, hopefully now they will do the needful and release him and give him all the due fundamental rights of free speech and association. And it's ironic to say that Yassin Malik was involved in negotiations with the present government for a peaceful settlement of the Kashmir dispute. And he's being prosecuted for fabricated terror offenses. That's really an ironic thing. And secondly, about the Kashmir problem itself, we all know how Kashmir was denied the fundamental right of choosing the destiny in the wake of the partition of India and Pakistan in 1947. We all know since then how the Indian forces, they oppressed the people of Kashmir, violated the fundamental rights. How many tens of thousands have been literally killed, men and women and children, We all know that how in 2009, I think, India abrogated repealed the Article 370 of the Indian Constitution, which guaranteed a special status to the Jammu Kashmir province. They violated the province. And they also repealed or abolished the Domicile Act of India, which gave them special domicile to the Kashmiri people. So seeing all this, we would urge the authorities of both India and Pakistan. See, Kashmir problem is now more than just an Indian problem, because the security consideration of both India and Pakistan sometimes are legitimate, and also because of geopolitical reasons, and also because of the climate considerations and economic goals. It's more than the problem of just the two nations. It's a regional problem, actually it's a global problem. So we urge and we support the stand taken by this organization to argue and to promote the establishment of a neutral, trans-border, peaceful, trading, but independent state of Kashmir, the region of Kashmir. I think it's in the interest of both the nations, the nuclear power nations, because of security considerations, they should support such a move. Also, the world community should support the move, especially the United Nations should support the move. When actually the United Nations is the main culprit, which refused to implement its own, or failed to implement its own resolution of a self-determination in 1947, as we are back over there, you know. So they should promote this peaceful resolution of the Kashmir problem for the people, the benefit of the people of Kashmir, you know. So
Thank you.
United Democratic Kashmir in that region.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Barrister Saab. That is something that Kashmiris have always strived to convince these forces that, hey guys, live and let live. We can be very peace-loving, peaceful, cooperative neighbors, and we can live at peace. It's just that we want to have our freedom and identity to be respected. So with that, we have Brother Huda. And if he wants, is he around here? Sister Huda, I'm sorry. Sister Huda, so we want to make sure that you compete with the other two sisters. Oh, mashallah. So we have two young representative of Kashmir. So because you're young, you're vibrant, you're intelligent, you're smart, you're Kashmiri. So I will give you 3 minutes and 1 second.
That is not much time, so I'll just go straight into it. Kashmir, often described as heaven on earth, has been torn apart by conflict for over 70 years. In this time, the countless lives of women have been shaped by violence, displacement, and the constant shadow of fear. According to a study done by MSF in 2015, nearly 45% of the Kashmiri population suffers from some sort of mental distress, with women being disproportionately affected. This statistic is not just a number. It represents the countless mothers holding the bodies of their sons, crying over them. The countless daughters and sisters waiting at their doors for their fathers and brothers to come home. For the wives who have to endure unimaginable trauma. These women have faced the horror of war not in battlefields, but in their homes, in the streets, and in their hearts. They have watched their loved ones disappear, often to never return. Most of these missing persons is someone's son, husband, or father, leaving behind women who are caught in the storm of grief and uncertainty. These women, known as half-widows, are neither wives nor widows. They struggle with the torment of uncertainty as her husband has disappeared, leaving her in the perpetual limbo, struggling with the emotional pain of loss and the hardship of realities of survival in a society that often denies her the support, leading to PTSD and other mental disorders. Their pain is a stark reminder of the human cost of this conflict. But the struggles of Kashmiri women go beyond just the loss of loved ones. They face daily threats to their safety and dignity. Reports by Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International have documented numerous cases of sexual violence against women in Kashmir. Not only out in the streets, but inside their homes. Places that are meant to be a haven are no longer safe. These women live with the constant fear of being attacked, violated, or killed simply because of where they live and who they are. The education and empowerment of Kashmiri girls has also suffered in the wake of this prolonged conflict. The literacy rate for women in Jammu and Kashmir is around 56.43% in 2024, according to the Census of India. Many girls are forced to drop out of school due to unstable security situations, early marriages, or economic hardships. These girls are being denied the basic right to an education, and with it, the chance to rebuild their communities for a better future. Yet despite these immense challenges, Kashmiri women continue to show incredible strength and resilience. They have become the backbone of their communities, holding families together amidst the chaos. Having to step in where the men left off, they have taken up roles of peace builders, caregivers, and activists, fighting not just for their own rights, but for the rights of all Kashmiris. Their courage is a testament to the unbreakable spirit of women who refuse to be silenced even in the face of overwhelming adversity. But their strength should not absolve us of our responsibility. The international community, governments, and organizations must do more to support the women and girls of Kashmir. They need protection, access to justice, education, and opportunities to rebuild their lives. We must listen to their voices and amplify their stories, ensuring that they are no longer the silent victims of this conflict. The struggles of Kashmiri women, girls are a reminder of the human cost of conflict. They are mothers, daughters, sisters, wives, half-widows, each with a story of pain, loss, and survival. It is our duty to stand with them and advocate for their rights, and to work towards a future where they can live with dignity, peace, and hope.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Huda. That was incredible. Thank you, Huda. Thank you very much. That was such a powerful commentary and sentiment that you have shared. Before I go ahead and get to the final note from one of our long-term supporter, human rights activist, as she is out of country, but she has sent a passage that she wants us to share with us. Our next speaker was Rabia Muzaffar, my better half, and she have dedicated her time to the next speaker, that is Qasim Khokhar Sahib, because Qasim Khokhar Sahib has traveled all the way from New Jersey to honor us with his presence, and he is one of those soldiers who is always would like to do a footwork but never would want to be in the limelight. Neither do we, but we also want to do on the back foot, but sometimes we have to fill in the vacuum. With that, thank you very much. If you could please share your wisdom with us. Qasim Khokhar. Idhar.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much for the job and the staff, for the honorable guests. We Kashmiri people, nobody else. India is claiming that we are part of India, Pakistan we are part of Pakistan. China just takes over whenever it likes it. So I want to explain what we want. We doesn't believe in United Nations resolution because that is only deal with India and Pakistan. There is no Kashmir issue in that. It is a problem between India and Pakistan. To my perspective, to my view, I think that before India and Pakistan were born, we were a country. We had agreements with British Crown. We had agreements on 12th August before Pakistan was born with Pakistan as a two separate countries. That is called standstill agreement. And right after 14 and 15 August, Pakistani army and people entered into our country. To follow that, Indian army comes in to another part of Kashmir. And they claim that we liberated Kashmiris. Pakistan claimed that we liberated Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. India claimed that we liberated Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. But whom they are liberating? It was our country. We were the people and they were invaders. So the issue right now is that Pakistan occupied part of the Kashmir and India is occupying part of the other part. China has some of it. The solution is simple. Whoever occupies any place illegally, they need to move out. Pakistan should move out, India should move out, and China should hand over our property to our people. And we don't need any Raishmari or plebiscite or anything. When an occupation is going to end, we have our sovereignty and we are free to move forward, and we are free to move our own government, and we will be free to join United Nations and work for the betterment of humanity and on a global level. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Qasim Khokhar Saab. We have some esteemed guests with us. I do remember Hafiz Saab was awarded a national award for his initiative towards climate change in America. And his project was a green initiative, a green masjid project, right? So they installed the solar system in an entire mosque. So now they are probably the first mosque in America that is contributing towards lower carbon pollution in our climate. So thank you for being here today. And Imam Asil Saab and Sardar Saab will have the final comments, but I have a passage to read, and my plan is to finish it right on time, which is 2 minutes left. I will finish it. If I don't, I will stop it in the middle of it, and then we will close the session and have the rest of the discussion going as per the promise. However, we did started the program late. For that, I apologize on behalf of Raja Saab. It wasn't my fault. So if anything that good happens, that's Raja Saab. Anything that bad happens, that's me. So no problem there. So this is from Beverly Hill. She is a gender side activist. She works around the globe for the gender side project. If Kashmiris are leaving the hall, then I don't blame other people. So she says, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be invited to speak at the conference. Although I am unable to be here in person, I'm currently in London working on a British tour to our next exhibition. I want to start by expressing my solidarity with the people of Kashmir. Your quest for independence and self-determination is just and noble, and we stand with you in this struggle. We grieve when we hear about the vicious measures used to break your will, and we endorse blueprint your organizations have created for an independent Kashmir. We propose that progress towards this goal start with the face-to-face talks among the interested parties, Kashmir, India, Pakistan, China, held on a neutral territory. However, we acknowledge the huge obstacle political leaders in the occupying countries stand to lose powers and have propelled themselves to office by inflaming their population. Despite this, we draw strength and inspiration from David versus Goliath stories, where historically David sometimes wins. We see parallels with our own struggles, like the abolition of the slavery and the women suffering, which began with a small dedicated group who imagined something different and worked tirelessly to change the country. You, the people of Kashmir, are and will have the right to activist today. You are the sons and the daughters of Kashmir talking on the occupying power. We need to amplify your voices and parley your proposal into actual diplomatic initiatives. We endorse your call for direct talk between India, Pakistan, China, and Kashmir. Persuading the parties to talk won't be easy, and I'm eager for suggestion as to how we might accomplish that. In Africa, there is an expression: when elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. I know you understand the metaphor. that rights, dignity, and prosperity of Kashmiri people have been trampled underfoot by 2 and now 3 occupying powers. The oppression and abuse meted out have further delegitimized their already illegitimate presence. It is time to send the elephant home. My fellow Americans and I lock arms with the people of Kashmir and endorse your call for independence. Let us begin, as you suggest, with dialogue among the concerned parties. Thank you, Beverly Hill. So that brings us to formally end of our conference, but formally closing it, I would like to request our Kashmiri Imam serving here in the metropolitan area. He's a scholar. He is an inspiration for our youth. He would make his closing remarks and make dua, and then we will open the floor for discussion. We are here, but some of the people who have been very kind enough to be here, not 11 o'clock, before 11 o'clock, to honor us. And it is us. We are late in welcoming our guest as Kashmiris, as Pakistanis. We are late in starting our program, but it is not their fault. That's why we are late in getting our independence also. So with that, Asil Khan Saab. Thank you.
Thank you. In the name of God, the most gracious and most merciful, first of all, I would like to really congratulate Raja Saab and the Minister of Home Affairs, of course with your team members, and Master of Ceremony Kazi Mujeeb, chief guests, representatives, activists. We would like to really appreciate your presence here. You are with us today. May God bless you all. With just, the short period of time, of course, we'll never be able to do justice to learn everything within a short period of time. I would like to request you and urge you, please, when you go back, educate yourself about Kashmir. Because we have very little education about Kashmir. And thank you very much, Raja Saab, for this wonderful, informative, and educational event. So, this is one thing. And the second is, thank you very much, television. Do you remember? I would like to address you. I do remember we were sitting in one of the events, and she graciously and willingly, she offered her services at Capitol Hill. Do you remember that? Yes, we would like to really appreciate her. And we would like to have a Capitol, Kashmir Day at Capitol Hill. Kashmir Day at Capitol Hill. And she is willingly, graciously offering her services. Thank you very much, Harry. And this is again, we would like to request all of the representatives, please step forward. Because right now, international media and international community is silent. International media community is silent. And they are thinking now this is a frozen conflict. It's not frozen conflict, not yet. It's not yet over. So please educate yourself, educate your children, and for the humanity, for the sake of humanity, it's not only for some certain people, a handful of people, for the sake of humanity. The Quran says, if you kill one person, it is as you kill all humanity. If you save one life, it is as you save the life of humanity. Let's work together. Let's come together and save human life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before I...
that next session,
yes,
because we're not in session now, so the Capitol's kind of empty, but we'll do it next session in the spring when we have lots of people at the Capitol to give it the highest visibility.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We will vote for you to run for the governor of state of Texas. Before we invite Sardar Sahab, aap tashrif layenge. Sardar Halim Sahab, if you can come on the stage. I do want to recognize two of our dear brothers who have huge contribution towards the cause of Kashmir. They have traveled all the way from Austin. Sardar Saghir Sahab and Sajjad Asghar Sahab. If you could stand up and please, and huge round of applause for both of them, please. These individuals are very active in their community, and they are always They're always hosting seminar session like this. We are far behind from them what they are doing. They are very consistent with their activities and the policy because they live closer to the state capital, and we really appreciate your dedication, cause, efforts, and awareness that you do for the cause of Kashmir. Before I ask Sardar Sahab, who is the president of JKLF USA, I would like to request Mrs. Raja Muzaffar, Mrs. Mir, my dear mother-in-law and the only mother-in-law, and my wife always tells me, and the last mother-in-law also. So she would like to honor Miss Terry Miza with a special gift that she has bought. Please.
Birthday is the last. That's why everybody have the same birthday.
MashaAllah.
Happy birthday, Terry.
Oh, it was her birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to we all. Happy birthday to Terry Miza.
Everybody else in the Capitol has what they call a coat tree, right?
Mhm.
Coat rack. The guys in my
The-
office aren't allowed to use it because it's my scarf tree. It has all the scars y'all have given me over the years.
Okay, सरदार साहब आपके पास 30 सेकंड है, ठीक है?
30 सेकंड में बिस्मिल्लाह भी नहीं हो सकता। Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for coming here in this place to hear us. According to the scholars, Indian forces have committed many human rights abuses and acts of terror against the Kashmiri civilian population, including extrajudicial killing, rape, torture, and enforced disappearances, according to Amnesty International. Aspirations of Kashmiri people are expressed during 114 days campaign led by Yasin Malik. It is signed by 1.4 million Kashmiris. Thus, raise awareness about Yasin Malik's peaceful struggle for his nation, which advocates his immediate release from fabricated charges. Conference is set to uniting intellectual voices and experts to discuss the pathways to peace and tranquility in Kashmir. Kashmir issue can never be solved or resolved without the consent of Kashmiris. Kashmir is not a territorial issue between the neighbors, as it had been propagated to the world. It is a clear militarized oppression against Kashmiris, where 1.2 million troops are deployed by illegal occupiers on a population of 22 million people. Powerful and civilized nations are requested to help Kashmiris to establish their own country as an independent democratic country having good relations with all surrounding neighbors. Thanks everybody. I wish I would have said few more
फुल कैची सारे अच्छे अपनी तस्वीरें तो ली हैं हाँ तस्वीरें ली हैं अपना पूरी एक पिक्चर में सारे
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Siddhar Sahab. Really appreciate that. I would like to recognize some of the leaders in our community who are here with us. Sister Lubna, she is representing PTI.
one picture, everybody in one frame.
Please give her a round of applause. our dear brother, Chalta TV brother Munir. He has been here. He has covered ISNA convention for 4 days, and he will still be able to make it to us. Thank you very much. Kazi Latif Saab, PTI DFW. Shoaib Khan Saab, Isaim, Jazakallah Khair for making it. Sardar Manzoor Khan Saab, Jazakallah Khair for your time. Kamran Saab, Raja Nadeem Saab. Raja Nadeem Saab from Austin, Jazakallah Khair. Thank you so much. And our esteemed guests who were here from 11:30, from representing Democratic Party. Thank you all. Give a huge round of applause to them, please. Thank you. So, every one of you guys have made it happen. Thank you very much. Really, really do appreciate everyone's presence. It is you who made it happen. It is you, because of you, this conference took place. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use us for the betterment of humanity here locally as well as globally. So with that, the conference is officially adjourned. And the floor is open for discussion. The floor is open for comments. The floor is open for your questions, if you may have, or if you want to speak. 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 2.5 minutes. It's all up to you all. Ji, no, aap bahut kar chuke hain already. I'm just kidding.
Just one comment.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the speakers were men, but we had two sisters, a daughter and the sister who spoke. I think she balanced the whole conference.
Absolutely.
This is when our sisters speak, you should just listen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And alhamdulillah, men are born to listen. That's all. If you want to have a successful life, just listen. And we are good listeners. Sajjad Asghar Sahab, you want to say something? Saghir Sahab, you want to say something? Okay, you have a brother, he wants to say something. Guys, I just want to emphasize one more time. You see these politicians up here? They are not politicians in terms of politicians. They are the true servant of community. And they literally took the time out and spent the time with us because they know that we are the suffering party. We want to thank both of them, Daddy Lisa and Brother Kabir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to congratulate Raisab and his team for conducting such a beautiful event. It is the dynamic of time, and the topic was very good. And initially, we all have observed outside.
इसकी को करो मैं चाह पीनी नहीं ये मेरा सी बहुत नहीं हो रहा पूरी कोशिश करी रहे ना नहीं वो दूध नहीं निकल रहा
once again, I would like to mention most of things my wife already spoken her contribution. The thing is, the back in
चाय मेरी ज़ाया कराई आपने छोड़ मानी ऐसी चाय पीऊँगा ना क्या वो करें इसके बाद मैंने सेटिंग नहीं की बोले इसको
Azad Kashmir, the free Kashmir, it's never been a free Kashmir since 1947. So that's why it's POK and Indian side of Kashmir, we call it IOK. And the people are suffering
आप चलाते भी रहे या नहीं
क्या बात कह रहे हैं जी सारे लोग आप किसमें से पड़ी होगी
the people are being kidnapped, tortured, and lot more things are happening.
Was live 1 hour.
The social media, and
What is
people
the?
are here
Oh, yeah,
just to see how to find the
Fresh वाली शायद post ही हुई आप
these kind of things
यही है
back in our country, and definitely we have hope and believe that one day we will have the
आपकी बेगम साहिबा के कमेंट्स ने हमें
independence from the
क्या था वो
बिल्कुल आपके ऑपोजिट है वो
Pakistan and India, and we are actually the same way individual